In an ideal world, every shot that you film as a videographer would be stable and well composed with great focus throughout and no obstructions. But unfortunately, that's just not reality. So in this video, I'm going to show you some editing techniques that you can use to save your less than ideal footage. So I actually just posted a reel on Instagram showing every single time that I filmed a touchdown that got ruined because I got scared by the touchdown cannon and shook my camera all over the place and ended up losing focus. So I want to start by showing you one of those shots and how you can fix that type of shot, or at least make it work in your edit. So let's just watch this shot through first. Here we'll kind of talk about it. I'm focused on the quarterback, and the quarterback rolls out and throws, and here I just don't follow the ball. But this is because I was shooting on a third-party battery. I had just changed my battery because I was getting low on the one that I was already on. And then I got a pop-up on my screen that covered the entire screen, including everything that I was filming, that said, "You're using a third-party battery, do you wish to continue?" And this completely threw me off. Like, I couldn't see what I was filming, and it happened while I was following the ball. So I just didn't follow the ball out of the quarterback's hands. And as a result, instead of locking onto the ball and tracking it into the defender's hands as this interception happens, I'm just filming the ground. And then I click OK on the prompt, and I kind of get back to my shot here as the defender has intercepted the ball and is running towards the end zone. And he takes this back to the end zone for a pick six, which wins the game. And the touchdown cannon goes off, and my camera shakes, and I lose focus. And I lose focus again here as someone walks in front of the celebration and picks up the autofocus. And then I get a celebration shot at the end. So as you can see, lots of problems for me to deal with in that clip. But we can still tell the story of this play using a few little editing tricks. So in this type of situation, high frame rates definitely help. And this clip was filmed in 60 frames per second, as you can see here. It would be nice to film this type of stuff in 120 frames per second, but I can definitely work with 60. And we're on a 24 frame per second timeline, by the way. So that gives us 40% slow motion. And really all we need to tell a story is the beginning, middle, and end. But no one ever said we needed to show the beginning, middle, and end in a continuous sequence with no cuts. So let's start with the beginning. Maybe we start this a little bit after here. Let's have it when the quarterback's already got the ball in his hand and is dropping back. So we have the quarterback rolling out. And right here, we know we're going to lose the shot right when he throws the ball. So let's just speed ramp this down into slow motion. We'll place a cut here once the shot is no longer usable, and just move all this other footage off to the side for a moment. Let's unlink these, and then I'm going to right click and go show clip keyframes, time remaining, speed, and I will click command and drag out and slow this part down to 40% speed. Let's place a cut in the middle of these 2 points, bring this down to 40%, and then we'll slow this down to 40% as well, and command shift D to cross dissolve it. Maybe I can hold that for a little bit longer. Perfect. And now let's go to when we whip the camera up, and we're actually going to use the motion blur of this right here to kind of transition us into our next clip. So let's add another point, and we'll speed this up to 150% speed. And we'll bring our audio back to 100% speed as well, so it sounds natural, kind of signifying the end of our little slow motion bit here. So that's 100% speed. We have a few frames to help us with our whip pan transition. We kind of need to find the right place to make this cut and work with the frames to make them blend together seamlessly as we do this whip pan transition to get us through the throw and show the interception without that weird middle part that I botched. Maybe right here, this movement from here to there, we can speed that up and make it into a whip. So let's work from there. I'm using Q and W, by the way, to do these ripple cuts where I pick a point and then delete everything before that point and shift everything over. So if we go back here, I set this marker and then I click Q, and it's going to delete everything from here to there and then move everything else over. So instead of cutting and deleting and then deleting, I can just from here click Q and do all those actions. So let's do a big speed ramp to here, and we'll bring that to, there we go. That works. So now what we have so far is this. And maybe we slow-mo this part right here. And you can see if I turn proxies off here, this is a little bit out of focus. Like, this guy's not perfectly framed up. I actually don't know where my focus is here. I've just whipped the camera up and it's kind of all over the place, but this isn't in focus for sure. But when you're actually watching a clip back in real time, it doesn't really matter. I've found that this is like not the best, and obviously you want to avoid this, but usually if the start of your shot's in focus and the end of your shot's in focus, people are pretty forgiving about the middle, especially when you're filming like action and fast-paced movements. So we're gonna roll with this. We got the throw, we got the celly, and then we're gonna move it along here. Maybe we take this part here where he is perfectly in focus, and we'll cut from like here, where it's slow motion, to here. And let's just put this part in slow-mo as well, 40% speed. And then we'll go to where we have our celebration. Let's skip over that cannon shot. And then here's our celebration. And we're going to bring this down to 40% speed as well. And we'll speed it up after. So that's down to 40% speed. Let's Command Shift D on all those cuts so that we get a little cross dissolve. And that works. So now we've taken a shot that had me like just stopping filming for a couple seconds, a really bad camera shake, and someone crossing the frame and ruining the focus of my shot. And we've turned it into this sequence that shows this play. And look, is that the cleanest sequence that I've edited in my entire life? No. But does it tell you what happened on that play in a more cinematically appealing way than broadcast footage without revealing the ton of mistakes that I used? Yeah, absolutely it does. So those are just some ways that when I'm editing, I'm kind of like thinking about how to take footage that's not the best and make it look like it was shot really professionally. Now, in a kind of similar situation, you'll sometimes get a shot where you don't necessarily make a mistake, but something just happens that you couldn't possibly have filmed. And similar to our last clip, you just want to make sure that you're showing the beginning, middle, and end, but it doesn't have to be continuous. So we're going to watch this shot that I filmed at the Grey Cup, the CFL's championship game last year, and then we're going to watch how I later edited this sequence together to show the full series of events. So we have a punt. I chose to follow the ball in this punt right into the receiver's hands. He grabs it. He goes through the first line of defense. I have a great shot all the way until here. And once he gets past that last guy, everybody runs past me and my shot is gone. He's way at the other end of the field and I have nothing. You can see how my shot progresses. I try to follow along, but there's not much I can do, and I kind of get him crossing the goal line right here at the end, but there's so many people in the way. I really can't frame him up at all. And then people start walking on the field, and my shot is gone. So I basically decide that I'm going to turn to the fans and get whatever crowd shot that I can pull for the rest of this. And you might be thinking, Peter, how are you going to work with this? This is impossible. And if you're alone, you kind of just have to take what you have and then get on your horse and sprint to the other end of the field and film the shot that you can film. But if you're shooting with 2 people or even more people, then you just want to plan to be spaced out, and you can usually cover big actions like this. So for this game, there were 3 of us. We had 1 person in one corner, 1 person in the other corner on the far side of the field, 1 person in the middle. And when I was editing this, I took all 3 of those angles and I cut it together to show the full action. So you can see in that final edit of this clip, we have my shot here at the start, following the ball, and the receiver running, and then right when my shot stops being usable, right as he goes through this gap, we cut to the shot in the middle of the field, and then we just cut right from there to the end and show him celebrating with his team, and then show the guy in the middle of the field who went to get a shot of him on the bench as he was sitting down taking off his helmet. And that gives you the gist of it. You know that he caught a punt at the beginning, he started running and broke through the last line of defense. Right here he beats the punter, that's the middle. And then right here he crosses the goal line and is celebrating with his team, and then goes to the bench and takes his helmet off. That's the end. And even here, I just kind of speed this sequence up. I snuck in a bit of a mask transition. So someone walks across the frame right here. Instead of me just letting them walk across the frame and then continuing the shot, I had them walk across the frame and then just cut to further ahead in the shot when he was celebrating with his team. And there he is celebrating. And that kind of helped me speed this action along. So planning ahead to have multiple cameras can be a great way to help avoid mistakes and compensate for any shots that you just might not be able to get. But another situation that I've run into before is shots that are extremely noisy. There's lots of grain, they're underexposed, they weren't shot with the correct settings, and it might seem like there's nothing you can do with these types of shots. Look at this shot, for example. This is a shot that I got in the tunnel of the Grey Cup being walked out at the same game. And my goal for this shot was to silhouette the Mounties here walking the Grey Cup out and just get a silhouette of the cup and properly exposed for the stadium as they walked out towards it. And the shot isn't bad, but you can see that there is tons of noise right in here on the red of the jackets. You can really pick it out. Like, it is so noisy there. Pretty much an unusable shot. But to save this shot and work it into my edit, I denoise, and I actually like denoising in DaVinci Resolve. Now, I do have the full paid version of Resolve, and it is a few $100s, but it's lifetime access. And the denoiser in this is so powerful that I honestly think just for that feature alone, it's worth it. Yet alone all the amazing color grading tools and the fact that it is quite literally a full editing program. But we're just going to grab this one shot here and drop it onto my timeline. And again, you can see that this shot is very, very noisy. If I zoom in here, all the noise is very present. So let's denoise this shot. We're going to go to the color tab, and we have one node here. And you want to click on this guy right here. And this is going to allow us to use some noise reduction. So we're going to use temporal noise reduction. Let's set the frames to 5. The motion type, we can set this to better. And the motion range can be set to small. These guys really aren't moving that much. You can see throughout the shot, it's basically just 2 guys near the center with the cup right in the middle, walking forward. My framing is really not changing throughout this. And now we're going to adjust these temporal threshold settings. So we're going to bring up our luma and our chroma. Let me zoom in here a little bit to actually see the noise change. Let's bring those up. You can already see that's immediate improvement. And now I like to increase the chroma more than the luma. I find that this gives me better results when denoising. And I want to make it so that this is denoised, but I don't want to just like crank it to infinity and degrade the quality of my shot for no reason. I kind of want to bring these up as little as I have to make a big difference. So that's a pretty big difference. Let's bring the chroma up just a little bit more. And there. So already with this small denoising, we've gone from this to this. And when you zoom out and you play the shot back, it makes a pretty significant difference in the usability of the shot. So that's how I saved this shot, and how I honestly save a lot of shots that I either film or get given to me as an editor that are really noisy. Honestly, having a good denoiser as an editor is just an invaluable tool to make your footage look super clean. So those are some of the editing techniques that I use and my thought process behind how I save some shots that weren't necessarily shot in the most professional way, but make them look pretty cinematic. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel because I post videography and video editing tips and tutorial videos similar to this one on a regular basis and would love to have you around for that. If you liked the colors of the shots in this video, they're colored using my football video LUT pack, which are the presets that I use to make all of my football videos pop. If you like that, that's gonna be linked down in the description. And if you have any questions for me, make sure to go drop them down in the comments. Anyways, that's gonna be all for this one. So until next time, peace.